security techniques last class, and already we started and we talked about some of them, but small recap on that. Security techniques, they are mechanisms, they are standardized paths, scenarios that security experts go for in order to ameliorate or enhance the security, the digital security in an environment. We presented some of them, but briefly I'm going to start from the beginning also and then continue, starting with the context of the layering. We said that this is a scenario via which we set different security techniques on top of the data store or data, let's say, framework or whatever, where the data is or the information in question of security is, where those security, let's say, technologies, they are technically different. When you say actually you are going to install an authentication mechanism based on a password usage, okay, this is one technique. And then after we are going to install a firewall, internal one, which is an internet security, let's say, appliance or software. This is a different technique, which is completely not the same like the password-based authentication mechanism. Then we are going to install an external firewall that checks all the inbound data from the external environment. This is a complete different technique that differs from the second and differs from the third and so on. There are three different techniques and they have to be running on top of each other in the sense of, in order to reach the internal environment where the internal filters are, you have to pass the external environment, external security appliance and things like that. Thus, techniques to apply here to break in the security firewall, the security barrier, or security frontier, or security board, or let's say, yes, limit, you have to know or have knowledge. Okay, if you succeed, you'll fail here. Why? Because the technique is not the same, completely different. You have to have other techniques and other skills to pass. If you succeed in this second, you will fail here. And this third level, why? Third layer, why? Because this is a complete different techniques, group of techniques. Thus, the layering, it's a good security approach via which we defend against attacks or malware, let's say, approaches, using a diversified environment. This same scenario, actually, it is described with the diversity approach. It is described with the diversity approach, where actually we can see the diversity upon the different security appliances and software implemented or settled in the environment. So we can see it's almost the same graph, but here what we discuss, it's not the layering, we are discussing the diversity. Why? Because we are talking about different security appliances, different security software applications, they are utilized. So they are diversified. Actually, when we discussed with the regard to the layering scenario, we discuss it differently because we are having a first security shield, then a second security shield, then a third security shield. So we go in deep. This is a layer approach security scenario or technique. Muhammad Ali just joined. Okay, very late. So the second actually it's the limiting. The second technique actually we said one, the layering, the diversity is the two, and this is the third. Let's say there is no order. It's just a matter of count. The limited is a scenario via which we give the minimum privilege to an account or to a session or to a user. You are a student, we give you the minimum privilege. You only can see the courses. You only can see the links to open the courses. That's it. You cannot modify, you cannot delete. So we give you limited rights. This is actually for a purpose to control your behavior. If you just utilize or you try to inject the malware, no, you will be controlled. You cannot modify. So this is one of the security techniques by controlling sessions or controlling accounts and users by giving them the minimum required functionalities just to make the service run. They only can see what they are allowed to. They only can see what they are allowed to see, only that. You cannot see others. So you as a student, you only can see your profile, your courses, your marks and grades, only that. But me as an instructor, I use the same login and password field in the anyway, but I can see all of you I can see. Why? Because the limiting is not applied with me. It's applied with you as a student. But or maybe it is limited with me differently, with less limitations. For you, with you, it's more limitations that they are there. Diversity, we saw that. Obscurity, it's another security technique approach via which actually we can discuss the hidden. Yes. Hidden actually processes, and it's a mechanism via which actually we can eliminate or isolate sensitive data from being actually exposed to external parties, to raise up the privacy, things like that. Obscurity, it is to make the thing hidden. What is the thing? We talk about processes and services that they are actually delivering yes services and let's say functionalities to end users. They are hidden somehow when in process, in order to secure them, to raise their privacy, and to give them just to appropriate users at the end. Uh, Let me just explain that. As I said, it is a matter of hiding the process and services. Remember, we are not hiding files. We may hide files, but the context here is to hide the functionality that controls that. You are not able to log in because we blocked you, or because we hidden the username and field and password fields. So it is a matter of hiding. You cannot see your, for example, um, we can hide sensitive data. I'm just yes. For example, you are trying to make a payment on online using an online platform, or let's say application or mobile application. You input your credit card numbers. This is actually, it's an elevated sensitive value that has been completely hidden from, even from you. You type it, and once you submit it, has to be completely hidden. So sensitive data has to be hidden also when communicated or when shared or when processed. And this obscurity, we are using the word obscure. Why? Because it's a technical word to manifest the fact of hiding values or functions, or let's say procedures and processes inside a digital environment. So this is a technical prescription of the fact of hiding in the digital context, the digital security wise. Simplicity, it's another security approach. It's almost gathers all the what we saw so far from the other techniques, the other four techniques. We just bring whatever we need only, because the service we need. For example, we want to give you just to log in, we give you a login. We don't give you a functionality to register. Simple. Only that function, only like that. So this is the first understanding of what does it mean simplicity. The minimum functionality is required, we give it to you. It's not a limitation. It is not limitation here. We are talking about just making the thing as simple as it can be. Uh, Usually, actually, the simplicity here, it means that the function will be running smooth also. This is another view. It is not only to give you the minimum functionalities, but also to make the thing run smoothly. What does it mean? Means once we give you a button to click to register, or to button to click to search, or button to click to display list of courses and grades and profiles and things like that, this function has to be called once you click the button. It has to be called smoothly. Very good. Okay. Um, the simplicity here and this smooth behavior, it is because of the simple implementation of the function in question. We talk about antiviruses. The Kaspersky, for example, or the, let's say, Avast, or any famous antiviruses, if you want to exit them and stop them, you'll not find a button to exit them, right click and exit. No, you'll not find them actually. Straightforward. You have to do a big effort in order to be able to exit them and stop them, block them. This is from the outside environment. You as an owner, for example, you install the antivirus in your computer, and after one day or after 1 week or after 1 year, you want to delete it. How you will do? Is it just to click a button and it will be deleted? No, it is complex. The outside environment of the security tool, it is very complex from outside. Not only complex, very complex. You have to use the keyboard buttons and the mouse all together, both, to search the appropriate command, to see the control panel, and in the control panel you have to see the appropriate tab, and inside the tab you have to see the appropriate section, and it is a very complex process to search how to stop an antivirus, for example. This is why, because the outside of the security appliance, it is the face or the API where malware attack. So it has to be complex to fail them, but from inside, it has to be simple as much as it can be. In order when to make updates in future, they have to be simple actually for the developers and the owner. They have to find a key how to do that. So from inside it has to be simple, and from outside it has to be complex as much as it can be. This is actually an approach concerning the security appliances, because if we talk, for example, about a web application, now I'm using the PowerPoints from the Google, let's say, cloud, to display you this slide. If it's not easy for me to use it, if it's not very easy, simple for me to use it and to explain you and to help you understand, I will not use it. It has to be complex, maybe from background, in order not to be broken or to stop or to stuck. But regarding the security appliances and software, the case is completely different. It's the vice versa. From inside it is simple, from outside it is complex. So production software, inside is complex, outside is simple. But here, no, this is contradictory versa. The security software, they have to be complex from outside, not from inside. Any questions here, please?
No, doctor.
No, Mr.
Great. A last technique, actually, it's one of the very famous techniques. It's not the last, but as we said, there is no number in here. It's just a matter of count. So there is another one, but we come to that. The choke point. It's a scenario via which we narrow the flow, or the data flow, or the requests, or the queries, or the responses to a dedicated access point. What does it mean? Let me give you the example of the AD-Wave again. Let me highlight the word forcing. Then I'll ask you the question. Now, if I ask you now to display your timetable, to display it in your computer, and you share your screen, what you will do? Will you just open a link and immediately you will find the timetable? Or you have to use the interface, the same interface, where the username and password, then you search the link of the timetable. Actually, you have to go to the username and password. This is a choke point. It is a force. It is not because you can do this or you cannot. No, you cannot. You are forced to reach your timetable, or to reach your grades, or to communicate with your supervisor through the AD-Wave. You are forced to go through the access point. You see this castle here, they are shown this door. You cannot access the castle only from this door. You cannot access this castle from any place, only from this door. As a human being, you will not be able to climb the wall. You have to access this through this door. So the choke point, it is a scenario via which we force users or processes to start or to get into the environment through specific access points, through specific entry points. Choke point. Choke point. Any questions?
No, Mister.
Great. Still in the security techniques only, and this is the last in this chapter, this unit, the compartmentalization, the compartmentalization, the compartmentalization. It is a scenario via which actually we segregate and we go behind modular programming and segregating functions into smaller functions to secure them. For example, this box here is a system, whatever. We are going to separate the sensitive data inside the system into a separate table, and so a separate page, and so on. So we subdivide the functions and the resources both into different smaller functions and resources to just secure them. As if this is a system and we are segregating. This is for the registration, this is for the login, this is for the data of the last semester, this is for this semester, this is actually for the instructors, this is for the administrators. We subdivide them. We don't give them all together in just one table or in just one page. No, we isolate them. We isolate functions and procedures and resources separately in a coherent way just to secure them. Because if an attacker reaches to break into the, for example, the students' table, he will not be able to break into the courses table. They would be isolated. So compartmentalization, it's a way of coding. It's a way of implementation. So we use the modular programming in order to segregate or subdivide functions and resources into different smaller parts to secure them. Compartmentalization. Can you repeat the word, please? Can you read the word? What does it mean? Or what is it? Can you read it? Is it clear to you?
Yes, clear, Master.
That's great. Muhammad Ali, why you coming late, Muhammad Ali? اعترف. Are you with me, Muhammad Ali? سجل غياب يا محمد علي. تم. لا يهم.
دكتور.
Yes, tell.
دكتور، هاي الشريحة اللي قبل اللي شرحناها مع 74. دكتور، يعني أنا أتبع في الكتاب الشبتر ما موجودة هاي النقطة، يعني في نقاط ما موجودة.
ترى let me come back one step further.
يعني دكتور كيف نذاكر؟ يعني نذاكر من الكتاب، نعتمد على الكتاب، لأنه في يعني أشياء إحنا ما موجودة في الكتاب، والسلايد شيء ثاني يعني غير.
تعتمدوا على شرحي أنا وتعتمدوا على كتاب الاثنين اللي أشرحه وما تحصليه في كتاب تسجليه، وأكيد ما ترجع للكتاب إلا إذا ما فهم شيء. هذا ما فيش كلام. وبالنسبة للنقاط هذا من كل الشريحة هذه أنا قلت هذا ليسوا حصر، هذا فقط من باب الذكر. يعني غيرهم موجود، غيرهم وغيرهم وغيرهم وغيرهم. الأهم أنه في مقاربة لوضع إجراءات الأمن والأمان الإلكتروني تسمى التكنيكس. التكنيكس هذا ليست اجتهاد من خبراء الأمن أو الأمن السيبراني أو الأمن الإلكتروني، لا، هي قواعد نطبقها مثل ما هي، فيما بعد نطور. يعني نثبت مضادات فيروسات، نثبت مضادات فيروسات مختلفة، وهكذا تكنيكس في مقاربات ثابتة ستاندردز نتبعها مثل ما هي. ليسوا محصورين في ذول مجموعة فقط. يعني حتى لو في انت الحين تقولي هذه compartmentalization موجوده، موجوده في الكتاب، وانا سالتكم الحين تاخذوا تقروها او لا، جميل لاحظتيها انت. ليسوا دول فقط. يعني techniques to follow or the standards to follow, they are not only let's say 6 techniques only. So but للمراجعه للكورس والمحتوى what I say you have to take notes. This is for sure. كل كلمه اقولها ترى اتذكرها في الاختبارات، لا اقول الا الموجود.
واجد دكتور كذا ترى.
We have to do it, man. We have to do it, man. Actually, don't worry, don't worry.
دكتور
Actually, I'm not gonna bring something actually strange. إذا أنتم فاهمين المحتوى اللي أشرحه، المحتوى في الكتاب كبره يكون في الراس، تأكدوا. You have to recognize what I say. إذا في شيء ما واضح توقفوني، تقولي هذا ما واضح، هذا ما واضح، هذا ما واضح، وهكذا.
طيب شكرا.
إن شاء الله. Yes, who wants to say something? خالص, you want to say something? Any questions? We terminated this unit number 1. We terminated. Yes, tell me.
دكتور لكن في الاختبارات عادي مثلا نكتب بشكل عام يعني جنرال، مثلا لو في نقاط ما مذكورة يعني.
ما في شيء اسمه general وما general. في حاجة في الموضوع أو لا. طالما الشيء في الموضوع صحيح 100%. حتى لو تجيب من جوجل، حتى لو تجيب من كتاب ثاني مختلف، حتى لو تجيب، لأنه الأشياء ندرس فيها نحن في المنهج هذا تو. قلت لكم البداية اللي هي راي ستاندردز، راي أشياء ثابتة. الشهادة الكومتية هذه شرحناها في أول الحصص، اللي هي تتبع كتاب وين تروح في العالم هو نفس المنهج ما يتغير، لأنها قواعد ثابتة. لذا طالما المعلومة صحيحة اللي تشرحها فهي صحيحة. ما تقول هذا الكتاب هذا أو هذا كتاب، لا، المعلومة صحيحة، ما تخاف.
أوكي طيب.
So if you don't have any questions, actually, I'd like to pass to the next unit, the careers and the question of this count. Yeah, it is up to you to read about that. And as I told you, once you absorb the full book, Kitab Kubra, you can pass for this certificate. It's an international certificate. The computer actually A+. It's one of the international security certificates, professional certificates, but you have to absorb the full book. So unless you have any questions, actually, I'm gonna pass to the chapter 2. Do you have any questions? You want me to explain anything, please?
No, Mr.
Okay, great. So let me just load the second page. Second unit, sorry.
دكتور
Yes, tell me, please.
دكتور سؤال عشان الجداول اللي موجودة في الكتاب
Yeah,
كيف نذاكرهم؟
you have to know what are the جداول those. Actually, ايش موضوع؟ مثل نحن اخذنا في الترمينولوجيز، في التكنيك
لأنه
كورس
واقف في
اخذنا جدول.
جداول، هل هي يعني
Yeah, yeah.
مهمة ولا
No,
بس قراءة؟
مهمة جدا. Actually, one of the جداول actually شرحناها اللي هو الترمينولوجيز، فيه 5 كلمات شرحناها.
أيوة.
الترم ايش هو وايش معناها، واذا في اكزامبل ايضا تحصليه في الجدول اذا في تحتاج، اذا حسب الجدول محتواه. لكن الجدول الوحيد اللي شرحناه نحن في اليونت 1، الجدول الوحيد هو الترمينولوجيز. شرحنا
دكتور
الكلمات ومعانيهم.
مثلا دكتور الجدول اللي هو information security position في واجد يعني، إيش يعني مثلا المهم اللي في هالجدول نعرفه؟
صفحة كم؟
23.
Give me a second. Just wait for the computer to reply. صفحة 23.
أيوة دكتور.
Yeah, actually, these a list of brands they actually procure in security solutions. They actually hear nothing, just to read. This is just informative table, nothing, just to read only. هذه مجموعة من موفري الخدمات، أكثر وأقل خدمات،
أوكي
موفري
دكتور
الخدمات
thank you.
وخدماتهم only. Remember that we are going to cover only 7 chapters من الكتاب. لن نقوم بشرح كتاب كبرى. نحن فقط 7 وحدات. Good. Unit number 2, chapter number 2 is talking about the classification of the threats, the system, digital security or digital, let's say, environment. Sorry, digital environment threats, digital environments, malware, their classification. What are they? How we classify this and that, and what they can do, and how to detect them and things like that. So we clarify clearly the context of the threats. As a first view to make you understand is that the threats, they are classified into 2 categories, whether they are related to software or they are related to hardware or both. Software and hardware, software only or hardware only. A threat that threatens the software you are having, application software or system software, or malware that threatens the hardware you are having, the keyboard, the USB drives or whatever, or hard drives or things like that. Or maybe both. You have there are malware that they completely compromise the hardware and the software, like the kernel, the layer that comes below the operating system and on top of the hardware, the kernel. If it is compromised with a specific malware, it is completely causing the computer to be thrown. ما فيها حل. كمبيوتر ترميه في التراش. ما فيها حل. بسبب فيروس. ترمي كمبيوتر ما عاد تستخدمه. ما في حل، ما فيها لحد الآن التكنولوجيا تقول هذا. So this way we understand that the malware, they are classified into 2 groups. They are related to hardware or they are related to software, or maybe they are related to both. So starting with the first section, which is talking to classify the malware based on the software approach or software description. Mainly remember that software, it is a simple computer program. It has actually something to do, no more nor less. And as per first break is that the software that it is classified as a malware does not go for asking for a consent. A malware is a computer program. So since it is a computer program, why it is a malware? So it will run without any problem? No, it is a malware because it does not go for a consent as per an example. As per an example, not only. Since it does its intended action without asking for permission, without going for trying to get the okay. It does the thing in a hidden way, in an obscure way. So this is a malware. But it is, at the end of the day, it is a simple computer program. It's a software. No more, no less. The intention of a malware, since it is a malware and doing the thing actually without asking for a permission, it is actually to infect the OS or the software applications available in your computer, to infect them. They are actually contaminated with this malware. They are having a copy. Whatever you do or wherever you copy them, they will be actually spreading the same malware again and again and again and again. Or those malware also, they will conceal, see how it is written, conceal, it's not cancel, conceal your data. Example, and I believe that actually you saw this case. You are having a flash disk, USB drive, and you try to open it, you put it, you just plug it to the computer, and you try to see what is the content. You find it empty, but you know that there are files, Word files and images and, let's say, documents and projects. Nothing is visible. Everything is hidden. Nothing is empty. What happened? Did they get deleted? No. A malware concealed them. A malware has hidden them. This is one of the tasks that a malware can do. Another task or activity or purpose of a malware is that to gain profit. We talk about the ransomware, for example. The ransomware, we remember the WannaCry ransomware 2016. The ransomware, actually, the ransom activity is one of the very famous behaviors the malware act for. That to compromise an environment to ask for profit later on. to ask for profit. Great. From the software malware, they are classified actually into three groups. This is the intention, this is the objective of malware, and the groups where we can classify them to, they are three. Either they are Trojans, or they are viruses, or they are worms. Either this, or this, or this. So malware is on top of all. But the malware can be a Trojan, or the malware can be a virus, or the malware can be a worm. دودة وإلا فيروس وإلا حصان طروادة. Do something, one of the three. Great. Based on the actually intended action, we will classify them. So how to recognize this malware to be this or that? It is based on the action to do. It is based on the payload. It is based on the payload. What is the payload? The payload is the main activity that a malware will do. A Trojan has a payload, a virus has a payload, a worm has a payload. But it differs from one to another. So this is actually a main criterion to classify a malware with. First group, the viruses. They are actually classified to be viruses because they are intended to execute files secretly. They are to execute files or resource to get executed secretly. Means they behave inside your computer without any hint. You open a folder, double click, they get executed without telling you. They would be actually activated immediately. This is a type of virus. And once a computer has been infected with a virus, means being securely executed, it would actually do two things. Whether to get spread, ينتشر, or it would execute its task. He will delete and he will conceal, he will copy files, he will do whatever he wants. So an executed virus inside a computer causes the computer to be infected. And once it is infected, the virus will be doing one of the two tasks, either to spread himself or to execute what he is intended to do, to execute his payload. Example of payloads: to encrypt the content, like for example we talk about the ransomware, to delete all the data in your storage device, to send emails from your account, and the list is long. The list is long, does not stop here. Examples of viruses. The very famous one actually is the macroviruses. It's not the best, it's not the strongest now, but this very famous one. They are actually controlled. The macroviruses, they are related to the Office, Microsoft Office documents, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, all the Microsoft Office pack tools. They are caused to be attacked and infected with macroviruses. File infector virus, actually it's the list of the exe files, all executable files. They are source of viruses, nominated file infector viruses.
مستر سؤال.
Yeah, tell me.
لو سمحت يعني توضحنا يوم نبى نفرق بينهن كيف نعرف إن ذا فيروس وذاك الثاني كذي؟
Yeah, exactly. السؤال لا يجاب في جملة، ولكن this is what we are doing. This is good question. We started with the classification of the viruses. So the behavior, first of all, of the Trojan, and the behavior of the virus, and the behavior of the worm helps us to classify the malware is a Trojan, or the malware is a virus, or the malware is a worm. So البيهيفير، التصرف ايش يسوي هذا هو الأداة اللي تحدد. Okay, good. What is this تصرف? What is this actually this behavior? it is not just one jumla. We are going to study them. Start with the virus now. The virus, we said that it is actually it is to be executed secretly. If you have a property of a software that gets executed secretly, example, you open a folder and you find everything has been deleted. What does it mean? It means there is something hidden has been executed. This is a virus. Completely, immediately this is a virus, because when you open the folder, you did not click the virus, but you caused the virus to get executed. It did not tell you, it was secret, and it did not ask for consent. So this is a malware, and this is not a malware only, this is a virus, because it has activated its payload secretly when you did something, which is in this example we said فتحت folder, فتحت مجلد. So the virus has been secretly executed. واضحة النقطة هذه؟
أيوة واضحة.
جميل جدا. نلتقي الحصة القادمة. اللي يسمع اسمه يقول يس.